The city was a graveyard of steel and flesh. Cars, once symbols of freedom, were now cages of despair. Their metal carcasses bore the scars of the apocalypse. Dents and scratches, testaments to the relentless assault of the undead. Moans, guttural and chilling, echoed through the concrete canyons. They were hungry, these creatures, driven by a primal urge to consume. Their eyes, vacant and soulless, reflected the broken city. The stench of decay hung heavy in the air, a suffocating blanket of death. The world as we knew it was gone, devoured by the insatiable hunger of the undead. Inside the vehicles, terrified faces pressed against windows. Eyes wide with fear, they watched the horror unfold. Each passing moment was an eternity, a countdown to a gruesome fate. A young mother clutched her child tightly, stifling her sobs. Her husband, face pale and drawn, desperately searched for an escape route, but there was none. They were trapped. A businessman, his expensive suit now tattered and torn, pounded on his steering wheel in frustration. His world of power lunches and stock options meant nothing in this new reality. Only survival mattered now. Amidst the carnage, a figure moved. A lone man, his face grimed with dirt and sweat, navigated the wreckage with a practiced eye. He was quick, agile, his movements honed by desperation and instinct. This was Rick, a survivor. He had seen the horrors of the outbreak firsthand, felt the despair claw at his soul. But he had refused to surrender. He carried a crowbar, its metal shaft dented and stained. A tool of survival in a world gone mad. His eyes, though hardened by the horrors he had witnessed, still held a flicker of hope. He would survive this. He had to. A guttural growl ripped through the air. Rick whirled around, his crowbar raised. A zombie, its flesh rotting and torn, shambled towards him, its eyes glowing with a sickening hunger, fixed on Rick. The creature lunged. Rick sidestepped, his crowbar connecting with the zombie's shoulder with a sickening thud. The creature staggered, but didn't fall. It was relentless, driven by a hunger that knew no bounds. Fear surged through Rick, cold and primal. But he fought it back. He had to win. He swung the crowbar again, this time connecting with the creature's head. A sickening crunch echoed through the air. The zombie collapsed, its body finally still. Rick stood over the fallen zombie, his chest heaving. He had survived, for now. But he knew this was only the beginning. The city was overrun, a breeding ground for the undead. He had to escape. He spotted a motorcycle, its engine miraculously still intact. A flicker of hope ignited within him. He could make it. He had to try. With a surge of adrenaline, Rick kicked the engine to life. The roar cut through the silence, a defiant scream against the dying light. He sped off into the ruins, leaving behind the city of the dead.